Thank you all very, very much. It's a real pleasure to be here. To those in the room, to those on Zoom, thank you for your time. Uh, Senator Danforth, I remember my days working with him early in my political career, coming out of Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised, and watching leaders emerge on the national stage in a way that was profoundly important for the country and profoundly important for the party. And one of the things that I think is important not to lose sight of, and in the idea of why this moment, this movement right now, one word comes to mind, and it is in the three words that describe this effort: legacy. It is about legacy in so many ways. So for me, in a particular way, in a life that I've spent advancing conservative principles over the many years. I've had the privilege to serve as a Prince George's County chairman, as a Republican Party state chairman, as the lieutenant governor of my state, as a chairman of the Republican National Committee. So I'll be damned if anyone's going to question my bona fides. Period. That just doesn't work. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. So the first part of legacy is owning it. So y'all just need to stop letting them trample over that legacy with their stuff, taking away from you the power that comes from the legacy you've helped create. Not for you personally, but for the party in your local jurisdiction, in your state, and certainly for the country. That's what this is about. That knot in your stomach is recognizing just how raw and wrong all of this is, because it eats at the core of legacy. It eats at the core of what we are hoping to build up for the next generation of Republicans. See this young man sitting here right now. That's what this is about. What are we handing on? We handing on tariffs and locking up people indiscriminately and a runaway executive? No, that's not what the founders had in mind. That's what they tried to guard against. That was the legacy they handed to us to protect. And so we need to do a better job of that. I remember when I was asked to assume the chairmanship of the RNC on the heels of what was two awful losses in 2006, 2008. I was on the ballot in 2006, so I can tell you, my buddy Bill, Bill, you remember, right? Back in the day in 2006, what that was like, to go through that election cycle with the country mad at you. And then again in 2008, in the McCain effort, again, the country, and I think you put it right, where, it's the candidates and the messaging and all of that kind of matters. And it's a hard soup to kind of develop. But guys like Bill Kristol and others who are inside an administration trying to create the narration, and those of us outside trying to carry that message to the people, that dynamic is a very delicate balance. And when it's out of whack, the public will respond. And they respond in a way in which they clock you upside the head. You don't win the election. You don't establish that relationship that is so important. And so for me, I saw the opportunity coming in as RNC chairman as an opportunity to define our principles in a new way and to take a risk that the party up to that point I thought was not really prepared to do, in some cases not interested in doing, to push back on a 20th century mindset that refused to recognize the need for a 21st century party. So in short, the party, I think for it to survive, it was time to turn the elephant to face its future. And I don't know about you, but it does matter which end of the elephant you start with when you go to turn it. That's the work. So here we find ourselves gathering in the shadow of a once proud Republican Party, now deformed by this era of republicanism. But I think our truth, remains that Republicans that have lost their voice on things that have mattered to uh, the American people, and they've done so for a long time now. This is not anything new. This has been something that has been in the works for a while. And it has grown to the point that our credibility with the American people has snapped completely. And more Americans view the party as less relevant to their everyday life. Having that voice that's going to be in state capitals and legislatures, in town halls and in community meetings that speak to the concerns of the people. To make matters worse, what many inside and outside the party failed to understand was it wasn't the fault of our principles, but rather the failure of our leadership to honor those principles. Consequently, over time, our principles have morphed into baser motives. We became more interested in red versus blue, that was egged on by feckless Republican leadership, politicians, know-it-alls. The net result, of course, has been the diminishment of that Lincoln legacy, the diminishment of that Eisenhower legacy, the diminishment of that Reagan legacy, the diminishment of your legacy as leaders within the party, even if you did not hold a title. The fact that you were in the room, the fact that you were able to bring someone to the table, the fact that you were able to move the storyline, the narrative, to tell the story of our principles. It should be no secret to Republicans by now that the country has changed and continues to do so. And so most Americans today see a Republican Party that defines itself by what it is against, right? Rather than what it's for. And when it does state what it is for, well, that's not a good day for immigrants. That's not a good day for LGBTQ. That's not a good day for African Americans and people of color. It's not a good day for women. A 21st century GOP must reconnect with its radical past, affirming individual liberty while focusing, for example, on the importance of the economy, the importance of opportunity, the importance of civil rights, the importance of the rule of law, and the importance of the environment. During my last months as RNC chairman, I warned the party that we stood on the precipice of republicanism, ready to throw each other off because some wanted a litmus test of the party and others wanted a party to be made in their own image. Problem is that party excludes and narrowly defines the American story and strips away the core, the beauty, the essence of legacy. I know that new voices that are consistent with this radical idea, the radical nature of our party formed in 1854, is ready to give rise to something fresh, is ready to give rise to something important. Reimagining the Republican Party involves considering how it might adapt to contemporary political, social, and economic landscapes while maintaining its core principles. Not asking anyone to give up anything. We're actually asking you to lean into it, to embrace it, to make it a part of the story you now begin to tell. Because in the face of everything that's out there, that's antithetical to the very values of this country and the very values and principles of this party, when you raise your voice, clarity, that's a light. That's the light Reagan talked about in that city on a hill. It's how we hold on and show that legacy and how we hold on and tell that truth and how we relate it to people. We need to stop being selfish with that legacy. and understand the importance of sharing it. A reimagined Republican Party will strive to balance traditional conservative values with forward-looking policies that address contemporary challenges, that promote a vision that resonates with a broader and more diverse electorate. Folks, you're not changing the composition of this country no matter what kind of wall you build or how many people you think you can drag out of here. The country is still going to change. And so you either help with that change by inculcating, infusing these Republican values in that change, or you just get left behind. Because the change is not coming, it's here. A new philosophical narrative for the Republican Party must center around empowered conservatism, which integrates traditional conservative values with a modern, inclusive, and forward-thinking approach. At its core, we must build empowered conservatism on the belief that a free and prosperous society is best achieved through the empowerment of individuals and communities, responsible governance, and a commitment to justice and innovation. It will emphasize the importance of adapting conservative principles to meet the challenges of this age and future ages, fostering a political environment that is inclusive, dynamic, and forward-looking. So here we are. We're here because we are aligned with our fellow Republicans around legacy. That's why we're here. And we're trying to provide and will provide a unifying vision for a reimagined Republican Party that attracts a broader coalition of voters and addresses the diverse needs and aspirations of the American people. That's something I believe, and I think you do too, that Abraham Lincoln would be proud of. Thank you.